What's up guys, it's Victoria from Under Victoria's Spell, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that live rent-free in my head. And the first book that I'm going to be talking about is the whole reason why I decided to do this video, because I am definitely obsessed. So I can't wait to hop right into it. Okay, so the whole reason that I wanted to do this video was because there's a readathon, not a readathon, a read along right now for the Twisted and Broken Bonds, I think. Oh no, the Bonds That Tie series. And it's hosted by Peace Love Books, which is Jess, McKay from Okay It's McKay, Tori from Novel Life, Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, and Sam Reads a Little. Absolutely love them, and they have the best book recommendations. So they're hosting a readathon, and I think it ends in the beginning of November. But I wanted to go ahead and get started because it goes week by week. And I read the first book, and let me just tell you, it was amazing. And it is Broken Bonds by Jay Bree. And this series really reminds me of the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafia. But it's like more adult because it's set in college. This series blew me away. I'm about to start book 3 today, but I'm just gonna be talking about book 1. But this book has lived in my head since I started reading it. It is so freaking addicting. And the premise of the book is you pretty much have, the book starts out with our main girl. Her name's Oleander, and Ollie for short. And the opening scene is she gets in a car accident and someone dies, or many people die. And she's on the run and she gets caught, and she's running away from her bonds. And pretty much that is like your fated mate. Except in this series you have multiple, like a cluster. So her fated mates, her bonds, have found her, and they're very upset with her because they want to know why she ran away from them, and she cannot tell them, or she cannot bond with them because of some unknown reason that you still don't really know. Honestly, I'm going to book 3 and I don't have a good grasp of it, but it's so addicting because she's such a strong heroine. Like, I love Ollie so much. The things that she's been through, the strength that she has dealing with 5 very different men in her life, and I love the fact that she has multiple bonds. They have different personalities. They're upset with her, but you just like learn all her reasons behind it. And it's really a story about her finding her strength to find the things that she's ran away from. And also this has like powers in it as well, because you're like gifted. So she's also hiding her gift from them, and the rest of her bonds have gifts, so they're really mean to her. So could also be like a bully romance, and it's so good. Her 5 bonds are North, Knox, Griffin, Atlas, and Gabe. And oh my gosh, I love at least 3 of them. 2 of them I have a love-hate relationship with, but it is so good. It was so addicting. The first book's like 400 pages and I read it in one night because I was literally like, this is so addicting. This is a reverse harem novel. It's not age gap, but it is so good. Like, after I read the whole series, I'll probably do a whole video on it because I'm obsessed with this series. But yeah, that's the first book that is just living rent-free in my head. And if you have not picked up this book by Jay Bree, then you need to. After I read her series, I'll probably look at her other books because her writing is so addicting. But the next book that lives rent-free in my head should be no surprise, and that is Give Me More by Sarah Kate. She's a new to me author. I discovered her a few months ago, and this is the first book that I read by her. So freaking good. This follows Hunter, Isabel, and Drake. And Hunter and Isabel are married, and they're coming up on their 10-year wedding anniversary, and they are looking for some ways to spice up their marriage, possibly more on one person's side than the other side. And they are currently on a road trip with their business partner Drake, who is also Hunter and Isabel's best friend, and they all own a sex club together. So things get steamy, things get spicy. This book is so freaking good. I really love the marriage that is between Isabel and Hunter. I love the friendship that is between all of them, how much they care about each other and how they don't want to hurt one another, but they also have feelings for one another, and they're fighting those feelings because of the friendship and love that they have for each other. It is so freaking good. And one thing that I really appreciated in here was the fact that Hunter is struggling with his sexuality. And I thought that it was really well written that, you know, for someone who is in later in life and who is married to a woman, and also to be struggling with how you feel and having your wife there at the same time. I thought this was so well done. The angst in here was good. The steamy scenes were good in here. All in all, 5-star read, of course. And I plan on going back and rereading this and highlighting, tabbing, because this is going to be in my top 10 favorite books of the year for sure. So please pick this up by Sarah Kate. It's book number 3 in her Salacious Players Club series. You do not have to read them in order, but I suggest you do if you plan on reading all the books. That way, because other couples from other books are in them. But this one's really, really good. And the next one on my list is Real by Katie Evans. I've talked about this book so many times on my channel, but this is another book that for years has lived rent-free in my head. Like, whenever someone asks me what I read and I tell them romance and they're like, what would you suggest? This is the very first book that comes to mind. This is what got me into steamy romances. Like, it is so good. This is an adult romance, not new adult. And this follows Remington Tate and Brooke. And Remington is a underground fighter, and Brooke is a injured athlete. And so Brooke starts working for Remington, and it's their love story because he is so possessive of her. He just is so drawn to her. And this also deals with bipolar disorder. I think this was the first book that I read with this type of representation and the different types of bipolar disorder and what triggers that and how they dealt with it in the book. I think they did it very well. Katie Evans is such a good author. This is book 1 in the duet. The second one is mine. It follows the same couple. But it is so freaking good. It is so steamy. And after you read this book, you are going to be a Remington Tate fan. So the next one is another Sarah Kate book, and I love her so much. This is the second book that I read by her, and of course it's going to be praise, and I freaking love this one. This is book 1 in the Salacious Players Club series. This follows, why am I so bad with names? Emerson Grant and Charlotte. I freaking love them. Age gap romance, office romance, ex-boyfriend's dad romance. You got some BDSM in here. You got praise kink. It is so freaking good. This book lives rent-free in my head whenever I think of daddy, age gap. Emerson Grant is the first person that comes to my mind. He is amazing. Freaking love him. I really love the story with Charlotte and her sister in this book. I really love the character development between the hero and the heroine, and it is just so good all around. It's really about our heroine coming in to who she is as a person and also sexually, and also our hero believing that it's okay for him to fall in love and to think about his personal needs and not just his family's needs and his company needs. It is so good. Definitely should pick this up. Honestly, if you're not someone who doesn't like age gap and you're wanting to kind of start and get into it, I feel like this is a really good one because you can't really tell the age difference because he's in his 30s and she's in his 20s. So it's not that big of an age gap, even though he does have a son that is the same age as, or she's 18 actually, that's also 18. I feel like it's not weird if you're not someone who's not into age gaps. So this is a good place to start. But I really love that book. Definitely pick it up. Her whole series is good. The Salacious Players series is amazing, but you should definitely pick those up. The last book is one I contemplated on even talking about because I know that this author is really controversial. But, you know, when I was sitting down trying to think of all the books that I wanted to talk about that, you know, lived rent-free in my head, this is a book that I also really love. I read it always, like, once a year because I really love the story between these two characters. And I know how controversial this author is, and by no means do I support what the author stands for or the things that this author has said or done, but I do enjoy the writing of this story, and I really wanted to mention it because I do love this story. So that is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. Love this book. I read this whenever I was in high school, and this was in my sister's room, and I was like, what is this about? And I like read the back of it, and this is also a underground fighter romance. This follows Abby and Travis. I love their story. It is a little bit of a toxic romance. It is messy. It is something else, let me just tell you. So this follows Abby as she starts college, and Travis is also attending this college. He is the it guy of this college. Everybody loves him, fawns over him, and worship him pretty much. So Abby gets invited to go to an underground fight one night, and there she meets Travis as he literally gets blood all over her. And that's kind of how their friendship / relationship starts. This also starts with like a bet that they kind of play on each other, and that's kind of how their romance starts. This book is so toxic, but it is so freaking good. It's another book that really got me into romance. And I really appreciate this story because you see the growth. And I feel like if you're new to romance and you're looking for something that's like not the most intense, spicy level, but also still has that like high school drama, this is a really good book for you. But I love this. This is something that's always in my mind. I always think back to their story, and it's another book that I would recommend if somebody asked me, you know, like what's a good book to start out in romance. But I really love that book. But those are all the books that I have that are just currently living rent-free in my head. I'm sure there's going to be a million more as time goes on because I've read a lot of good romance books this month, and I can't wait to film my wrap-up video and talk about all the romances that I read this month. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoy filming and chatting all things books. But I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.